Roll call was taken electronically. This meeting of the Ripon Area School District Board of Education has been properly noticed in accordance with the open meeting law in state statute 19.84 and related references. Our school district statement of district vision, one of Wisconsin's finest school districts fostering excellence for all through innovation. And now we'd like to recognize our new professional staff. Whoever administrators want to start, it doesn't matter to me who goes first. I'll go first.
All right. I would like to welcome to the district Abby Biddle. Please stand so I can see you. Abby joins us as our new school psychologist at the elementary level, and no one is more thankful for her help than me. Last year. Abby completed her undergraduate work in neuroscience at the University of Iowa and her master's work in school psychology at UW-Whitewater. She is completing her internship this year after she finished her practicum last year at the Verona School District. And when she's finished with her internship this year, she'll have her education specialist degree then. She is passionate about helping students, staff, families, and the community of Ripon. She dove in headfirst this summer, helping me with her first evaluation even before school started. She not only shows to be a data and detailed-oriented person that we need, but also the relationship person that students need. Thank you for joining our team, Abby.
Next up, please welcome Amber Grimm. Amber will be teaching first grade this year at Barlow Park. She's joining us as a new grad from UW Oshkosh. Amber is familiar with Barlow Park staff and overall procedures as she was a student teacher this past year at Barlow. She desires to collaborate with the team and prioritizes student relationships. She seeks feedback and is reflective on our practices. She's going to make a great addition to our first grade team. Welcome, Amber. Next up for Barlow is Hallie Whitcomb. Hallie is our newest addition to the Barlow Park kindergarten team. Hallie previously worked with the kindergarten team in a long-term sub role 2 years ago and has subbed in the district since. She's now coming back home to Barlow as a permanent member of the team. Hallie has a passion for teaching, especially students in the primary grades. She's open to feedback and has great communication skills. Hallie is outgoing and a relationship builder with students and staff alike. And she's going to be a great completion to our kindergarten team. Welcome, Hallie.
Oh, neat.
And then we have Tammy Town. Tammy is coming back to Ripon as the art teacher at Barlow Park. Previously, she held a similar role in the Rosendale-Brandon School District. Prior to that, she also taught 4K for Ripon Area School District a while back. So this is another homecoming for Barlow. She's known for maintaining routines and procedures. Her focus is in the art classroom is focused on the process, not just the end product. Something very much in line with our vision for elementary art education. Tammy is enthusiastic and student-centered, and we can't wait to see what lies ahead for art at Barlow. Welcome, Tammy.
Now to share real quickly, we are welcoming back Holly Schneider. Holly began as an intern with us. Holly's not here this evening, she's coaching volleyball. So she began as an intern with us a number of years ago at Barlow Park Elementary. She then transitioned into a full-time position here as a high school counselor. And over a number of years, she's like, Abby, I gotta think I'm an elementary or middle school counselor. And I said, we'll get you where you need to be. We had an opening at Barlow. She transitioned there, and ultimately there was an opportunity in Green Lake last year where she got to explore all of the grade levels, and she's really nailed down that those early childhood are her loves. So she will be back with us now. We're very excited. So we will bring her back.
All right, at Murray Park, we have Lori Davis. She'll be teaching 3rd grade this year. She's joining us from Beloit Turner, where she was a 4th grade teacher, a high school reading interventionist, and also a dean of students. She's described as a phenomenal educator with strong character, exceptional skills, and unwavering dedication. She has a collaborative spirit, which will make a great addition to the 3rd grade team. And she taught summer school with us this summer, so we got to have a little sneak peek of Lori, so welcome.
Thank you.
we have Katie Fellner. Katie's not new to RSD, but she's joining us in a new capacity this year. She taught some elementary early in her career and then stayed home with her children. She joined Murray Park as a long-term art substitute a couple of years ago. Then she was a support staff member, and now she's going to be taking over as the art teacher this year. She's a passionate educator who creates an environment where students thrive. She prioritizes relationship building and effectively engages students. We're so lucky to have her transfer to this role. Thank you.
So I hired Dan Jonas back. Most of you probably know who Dan Jonas is, so I will keep this very short. Dan, after that was about a year ago, Dan, we sat here and talked about his 30 years of education, and he missed us so much he needed to come back. So we had hoped Dan Odyssey for the high school position. Dan has been a great teacher here for the last 30 years. He did spend about 3 years at Marcus Am prior to that as a special education teacher before he became a social studies teacher for Ripon High School. But he's been such an engaging teacher. He's done an incredible job with not only academics and athletics, but he realized how much he missed being around students and engaging with students that he wanted to find a way back into the classroom for kind of a full-time role. It's a part-time position, but it's a regular job every single day that he can work with students. So Dan Jonas is back with us.
Another one coming back is Mr. Mike Yoder. And Yodes has been with our district for 13 years. Had a mental lapse last year. And came back to an outstanding district. But this time around, Mike will be teaching tech ed. And we're excited to have him as our tech ed teacher. He actually did some work at my house. I thought he was pretty decent, so we're gonna have him back. So, Mike Yoder. Noah Coleman. This will be Mr. Coleman's third teaching position, but first in Wisconsin. He taught for 8 years in Southern Illinois at 2 different districts. His entire family has moved to Ripon, with 2 currently employed at Ripon High School, and a brother-in-law employed at Ripon College. Mm-hmm. His parents have also moved to Ripon this summer, so from Southern Illinois, the whole family is now in Ripon. His supervisor noted the following: Noah is a rock star. He has high expectations for his students, and he gets his students to meet those expectations. He does so many things at our school, and it will be difficult to replace him. He is dynamic and will immediately enhance and build your school culture. Of the 40 to 50 teachers, he is in my top 3. I will miss him terribly.
Wow.
And that'll be English. All right. And arts, Sam Chavetta. This will be Ms. Chavetta's first teaching position. She's student taught at Campbellsport High School and then at North Fond du Lac at the elementary level, and recently graduated from UWO. And her cooperating teacher stated, I cannot say enough wonderful things about Sam. She is amazing. I wish we could keep her. I've really enjoyed collaborating with her. It has been a pleasure having her in my art group for the past 2 months. We work so well together, and the students love her. Any district will be lucky to have her.
And last but not least, Yolanda Meinke is not in attendance, but I am more than thrilled to be welcoming Yolanda back in her role as EL teacher/liaison. For those of you who have been here, Yolanda joined our EL team at the high school in 2023, and she has done an absolutely outstanding job of engaging and immersing not only our EL students but our families as well. We are looking forward to expanding her position into a liaison position to not only provide that support to our students but also to help our families. She has taken many of our high school students on tours to colleges and just helped them with youth apprenticeships and things like that. And we look very forward to her continuing in that capacity. So we welcome her back.
Welcome to all of you. We're glad to have you. Thank you. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. If you don't want to, you don't have to. It's up to you. Thank you. No written comments. No visitors comments. And as far as the agenda goes, the only thing we're going to change is we're going to move up the presentation from the Social Justice Club so that you don't have to wait for the whole meeting to be over. Otherwise, we'll adopt the agenda as written.
And are you okay if I just move up the entire category of superintendent?
I'm fine with that. Are you okay with that?
Absolutely.
Do that completely.
Do I need to make a motion then to do that?
I'll just note it, I'll just note it in the minutes. Do you want it before the announcements or after the announcements of contributions?
It does not matter to me, whatever works for you. Before.
Okay, so it's, I've moved it on my screen, you might need to refresh in
Okay.
order for it to.
Oh, there it is. It worked.
Okay, excellent.
Okay, superintendent's report.
I would love to invite the members of our audience up and share their experience, and then I'll talk about the other two agenda items after we're done.
Sounds good. Hi.
Hello, I'm Brad Roost, I'm a science teacher here and the advisor for the Social Justice Alliance.
My name is Preston. I just graduated from Ripon High School this past May. I'm a co-founder and former president of the Social Justice Alliance.
I believe it's a slideshow.
I think she's.
She's-
Yeah. I guess the background with this trip was in 2020, John Erickson, who is the distinguished alumni for the high school here. He came in 2023 to receive his award. We met with him as a group when he had some downtime. The kids fell in love with him. In the meeting, he mentioned, if anybody's ever in California, look us up. And so the next day I got a message from Preston saying, I have an idea. What if we took students to California? So that was almost 2 years ago. The students spent about 20 months fundraising to make this happen so that the students had to pay very little, if any. Some students didn't have to pay anything to go on the trip. We had 12 students. We fundraised about $15,000 in the course of 20 months. So.
And John's title,
He is the current council member for the city of West Hollywood, but he's the previous mayor. for the
that's
city.
what I thought, okay.
They rotate mayors every year. So
Okay,
when we met with him, he was about to become mayor, and he spent a year as mayor, and now he is former mayor. But
he's a council member.
he'll go back into the cycle because they keep rotating mayors.
Okay.
every year.
So our overview, our adventure, the Social Justice Alliance at Ripon High School traveled to West Hollywood, California in June 2025. The purpose was to deepen our understanding of civil rights, social justice, and civic responsibility. What we essentially wanted to do was put kids in real world situations where they had to expand their knowledge of love and authenticity and courage so they could bring that knowledge back to Wisconsin and apply that to real world scenarios and spread that love and authenticity. So local government and commerce, we met with the West Hollywood City Council, we met with the LA County Board of Supervisors. We were recognized by the LA County Supervisors at their meeting while we were in the city of West Hollywood. So fun fact, the city of West Hollywood, the LA County Board is the only board in the United States being all female board.
Wow,
So they're all duly elected females.
They represent a total of about 10 million people. Their county alone, LA County alone is more than twice the size of Wisconsin in population. So,
Yeah. So Wisconsin has a population of 5 million people, LA County is 10 million people.
wow.
We visited APM Terminals. That is one of the largest cargo facilities in LA County. They import, it's 1.5 million crates per year of cargo.
If you think of the giant ships that come across the Pacific and unload along the coast, this is one of the major hubs in the US for cargo coming and going. So it's fully automated, so they have machines that pick up the storage containers off the ships, put them on trains or semi-trailers and send them off from there, and then put the empty ones back on. So they don't have people driving the thing or even people behind the screen navigating. It's all fully GPS coordinated. And they have committed to going fully electric by 2030, which is a huge, I mean, if they hundreds of acres of facility, and even with federal rollbacks and environmental protection, they have committed to keep moving forward and be fully green by 2030. So it's very impressive.
Next we have LGBTQ, oh, that's right. So we visited the One Nation Gay and Lesbian Archives at USC, so it's an off-branch of the University of Southern California. It is an archive devoted specifically to One Nation, which is a organization that published the first LGBTQ plus magazine, like I want to say 1930, 1940. And they had to, at the time, LGBTQ was not something discussed, so they had to legally transport these magazines across state lines and up into Canada. And then we got to see the June Mazer Lesbian Archives. It's a facility filled with anything that they quote, anything a lesbian has touched is in that facility. Next we have Civil Rights and History.
We visited the Museum of Tolerance, it's a Jewish Holocaust museum. We only got to see a portion of it because of the time restrictions, but the portion we did see was a guided tour illustrating the rise of Nazism in Europe and ultimately the Holocaust. But it's a very dark hallway that only sections lit up as he went through. And it ended with about 10 minutes or so everybody sitting in a model gas chamber.
Yep. So you walk through a miniature version of Berlin, Germany. You were confronted with the gates of Auschwitz. You walk through a tunnel.
There's a lot of students that it was probably the most impactful thing.
Oh, I bet.
And then on Juneteenth, we were able to visit the African American Museum, which is more of a 5-part art exhibit with contemporary Black artists. Each of them had their own gallery, but it was every one of them had slightly different take. One was jazz music, one was more or less civil rights and Malcolm X. But it wasn't what I was expecting as far as the typical museum, so the fact that it was more of an art gallery really was impactful.
You were there on Juneteenth.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we got to see a lot of different material. We got to see some artists speak, and it was interesting. It was nice. I think it'd only be appropriate if Mr. Roos talked about it.
See the exclamation point there by the
I
science.
told them if we were going to go to California to Los Angeles, we had to see the La Brea tar pits, which everybody said, what is that? So since I was a little kid, I was interested in prehistoric animals, so La Brea tar pits have been high in my list for a long time. So it's comically underwhelming outside because it just looks like somebody spilled asphalt on the ground and it's all fenced out. The museum was amazing, and the students' enthusiasm for me was even more amazing. So, and then the Griffith Observatory, we went up. Almost every morning we took a different group of students because it was close to the hotel, but you can see the Hollywood sign from there, and it's a very cool observatory, still in operation. It's got copper domes on the set, or the telescopes. The whole building is kind of Art Deco themed. It's just a nice, quiet place. You can see downtown LA and downtown West Hollywood from that vantage point. So it was just kind of a nice, calm way to start the day.
Then we have actual Hollywood, so this was the sightseeing portion of the trip. First we have Warner Brothers Studios. This was the very last thing we did on the trip. It was a 3-4 hour tour of Warner Brothers Studios. So all the kids on the trip there's a good portion of them who are invested in drama club. They got to see behind the scenes of how movies and shows are produced, so that was pretty cool for them. Then we saw the Walk of Fame. That's me with Shrek. We went to the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures, where we got to see Anna Karenina, We saw the Barbie movie exhibit, we saw the Beauty and the Beast exhibit, and then we also learned about the history of women and people of African American descent in motion picture history, and of course cinematography. And so we just want to say thank you to the following organizations. We have RASD, the Steelworkers Union, the League of Women Voters, Cat Griffith, the Life Family, the Tina B. Kloof, First Congo Church, Ripon Education Foundation, the Ripon Area Community Theater, Ripon Winkiwanis, Ripon Rotary, the Webster's Foundation, Wallsburg, the Green Lake Democrats, and the Fond du Lac Area Women's Fund. So thank you for your support.
What was your favorite part, Preston?
Tough one. The Holocaust Museum. I've always been very invested in the history of World War II, so getting to see firsthand a scaled down model of Auschwitz and go through that experience, as much as it was interesting, it opened my eyes and it broke my heart a little bit, but this was something we allowed to happen in history, and it's one of those things that we have to reassure will not happen again in history, and it made me want to fight harder. I'm going to school for political science and law, and made me want to fight harder to ensure that our history is preserved as people, and we recognize our faults and we continue to progress.
And a lot of students noted that you learned about the Holocaust obviously in school, but to actually have that more immersive experience was probably.
It sounds like a great experience.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing your favorite was the tar pit?
It was not because of the tar or the pit, but as the week progressed, we had to keep changing the schedule and bump some things off list and add some other things. So at one point, the tar pits were kind of on the chopping block, and the kids had a little intervention and was protested and said if Mr. Roos doesn't get to see his tar pits, they're all going to be very upset. So just that, I guess, their enthusiasm for support.
That's great. How many kids went?
12. So,
Nice.
And then 2 chaperones, Katie Del Ponte was the chaperone. So we flew everybody there. We rented 2 minivans and drove around LA in traffic for weeks, right?
Yikes.
Yeah.
It wasn't as bad as you think.
Yeah. I think one of the most meaningful things that the students kind of took back is a lot of them have grown up in small towns in Wisconsin, very rural, and to see a community, a large community like that that's very accepting. A lot of them said, because we have a fair number of queer students on the trip, they felt that they just always felt safe and accepted.
That's great.
More so than they do here. So, yeah, so a lot of
To bring back that love and that level of acceptance to rural Wisconsin, and continue to work on that and progress with that volume, I think is what was most important. Yeah.
Thank you.
Then I just want to say thank you for coming. You graduated.
Yeah.
Best wishes in your education and your career endeavors. You're going to do great work, I can tell.
I just moved into that area, so.
Yay,
Yeah.
keep you here. And Mr. Roos, this is just one of the many impressive things you have done in your
Yes.
short time here. So kudos to you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. This is awesome.
Thank you guys. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely. We'll see you.
So there weren't any legislative updates to share, and the before and after school programming update, I know we had spoken at our last meeting about the partnership with the Boys and Girls Club. Still very excited about that, still working with our representative at DPI to help us navigate through the grant. And as of this morning, had heard back and we're expecting to get some very good feedback tomorrow. And then just still engaging in those conversations to make sure that we navigate the grant properly so we can continue to provide the services that we have been providing to our families and kids. So I wish I had more to share, but that's just where we are at the moment. I'm sure we'll have more soon.
That's great news though.
It is absolutely very, very encouraging.
Have you gotten any feedback from parents on the communication?
I received about 3 questions right away on that Saturday when we shared the information with them, and all great questions. Not questioning the partnership, but questioning how to navigate and how to secure care before and after school for their families and make sure they're doing it well. So I would say all positive to this point for sure.
I've heard from a few people also, sad that Brave is not going to be in the school anymore, but excited that we have the Boys and Girls Club and that's an option and that we have that now. And everything will be in one place.
What is the space limitation, like in terms of the proportion of kids we have in school districts who might need that before and after school care? How does that compare to the number of slots they have available?
Compared to our numbers last year, which is what I could go on, they will be able to accommodate exactly the same number of people and actually even more than that in certain programs, absolutely. So we don't anticipate having to turn anybody away. Yeah, which is great.
My kids.
What?
Yeah.
My kids are going, yeah, there you go.
That's great.
And contributions.
Okay. So the following donations were made to the district in the past month. From SSM Health, they made a donation of $7,344.70 to help impact student meal balances. From Mark Dudzinski from North Central Construction, a $500 donation for our football program. And the following 3 companies each donated $500 to the boys basketball program. Those donors were Prestige Service, Bach Insurance, and Dietrich Jewelers. So thank you to all of the donors for their very generous donations this year, or this month, excuse me.
All right, new business. Do we have a motion to put on the table, considering approval of Fund 46 project for the high school wall repairs?
So moved.
Denise?
Second.
Tom? Brian, do you want to say anything?
So this is a project that I brought to the board in May as part of the 25-26 projects that we're looking at. This project did come in a little bit higher than what I initially anticipated. When talking to our consultant, we used Trumpo as our consultant for all our roofing. He cited that there's been anywhere between a 30 to 40% markup on steel since the beginning of the year. So this is just a project that, to continue keeping the building watertight and addressing the tuck pointing issues that the old structure of the wall has.
Anybody have any questions or anything else?
I got a question. Is this part of the original wall?
Yep, so this is the old 1960s original construction where I think it was, I'm trying to remember where the cafeteria and the kitchen were, and where our music area and everything is currently. So it's where the old met with the new addition when we renovated.
Any other questions? I'll call for a vote. Passed unanimously, thanks Brian. Next item is to consider approval to hire professional staff. Do I have a motion to put that on the table?
So moved.
David, second?
Second.
Chris? Any discussion or questions regarding that? No? All right, we'll vote. Passed unanimously. Next item, consider approval of Odyssey Academy staffing adjustments. adjustments due to the less students.
I'm assuming that, I'm assuming that most of the, or many of those who didn't re-enroll were in the 6th to 8th grade.
Yes and no. We had it across the board. Majority of the families are choosing just straight homeschool. They're not going to other schools, so it's not like we're doing something that others aren't. And then another good chunk are going to private schools. Both their local religious private schools and there's one virtual private school in the state. So they have a whole different set of rules and regulations that we do, so those are the two options that a lot of families are. But yes, the place that we were the heaviest out of all of it was the middle school, and having that part-time position. So that was where that came from. And then the high school social studies, we had retirement, and then looking at numbers and the budget, we posted for a lower FTE to right size that. And I don't know if you want to speak to the Spanish portion of it.
Yeah, we were looking at our needs, and I think I spoke to this at an earlier board meeting, about our survey results from Odyssey, and foreign language was one of our top needs, so we implemented a greater need there, or another position there because of that need. Unfortunately, the enrollments and registration didn't correlate with that, and with the less students, we had to find somewhere where we could make some space, and unfortunately for Spanish and that position, we need a social studies teacher, and that became priority.
So any students that were registered for Spanish, they had a few options through WBS, which is a organization we've always worked closely with, as well as any of our students can take up to 2 classes in their local district. So if they truly want that live component, that is another option for them. So we've been working with those families to find what's going to fit for their child depending on where they're located. So like you said, we had loud voices saying they wanted it, but then we only had 11 students that registered. So that was just kind of the result. That didn't pan out how we thought it would. So we just had to make sure we're right sizing and doing what's best for our students.
Somewhere along the line I missed it, probably should know. What's Hillside Academy?
That is alternative education setting for our special education students that Becky oversees.
That's those students we brought back that were all over the place and we brought them back.
I just didn't know we decided that name.
Oh, yes, the students chose that name last year. Yeah, we hadn't named it on purpose to let that first group that were our first group of students back last year put some ownership to the program. So they had to come up with a couple of names and then voted on that one, so.
Makes perfect sense.
It does, it's up on that.
So can somebody speak to the financial situation now? So we're losing $1.5 million in revenue and we're saving only $1,000 in expenses, but
So
what's the final picture? What does it actually look like?
we won't know for sure until that second Friday count in September. However, some of our earlier layoffs in the year are covering that other gap of it, as well as just Vince and I made some really smart choices of making some one-time purchases this past spring to help cover things that we knew that they weren't going to be a recurring cost, and so we were able to kind of preemptively go through those. And then throughout this past 6 months, we've dropped, I think it ended up totaling 4.0 FTE. So the most recent those most recent cuts will save us $100,000. The rest of that 1.58 has already been chipped away at between previous things that we've shared with you. So.
And okay, so the 1.58 is at the current funding level. The state raised the tuition rate by more than $1,000 per student, and so that's where we'd be at under today's tuition. Compared to last year's open enrollment revenue, I think we're going to be down about $900,000. So it's very significant, and we're working on it. We're trying to close the gap between our revenue and our expenses. But all of our teachers received contracts in April. We're in August. There's some adjusting that we can do, and we're going to definitely do adjustments before next year if we don't have growth. But for right now, we are doing the best we can with the budget. So we are projecting a slight deficit at this point, which we hope we can close with some future decisions, but.
And as well as, so for each student, if we purchased, you know, for example, one of our programs is $30 a student. Well, with 150 less students, 150 times 30, we're not gonna be spending that anyways, so that also chips away, even though our budget's reducing, we're also spending less because our per pupil, you know, so that all of those pieces kind of all add up to it, so,
You also said something about the health insurance costs for the unfilled positions, so you're talking about the ones that we had to eliminate from last year, or from, you know, since April.
In that specific line, we're talking about something really creative that we kind of came up with, which was that instead of filling a full-time aide position at Hillside Academy, Spanish teacher from Odyssey is actually going to be a third teacher at Hillside. He's already a full-time staff member for us. He's going to be there for part of the day, and then we have this full-time position that is benefit eligible that we're just not going to replace. Somebody who had left, one of the instructional aides left. And so that savings alone is probably, you know, more than $54,000. And so,
Great way to do that, by the way.
yeah, it was, yeah. Ron had a lot of, you know, had us thinking through some different options, and that was kind of what we ended up, so.
That's awesome.
So our hope is that parents going back to homeschooling will decide it's not as much as they wanted to do, actually.
that's our hope. Also with word of mouth, even, you know, that's always been our biggest, no matter what advertising we've spent, word of mouth has always been number one. So as the change happens, you know, those people that are hanging out in the weeds saying, I'm gonna see how this plays out before I jump in. You know, so really figuring out how to encourage our current families as the year gets going, to spread the word. And usually October, we get an influx of calls for whatever reason. Families are hitting that point where, like you said, I'm over this already, or whatever school their child currently is in, they've given it a shot and want something different. So fingers crossed.
And like any other student that would move into a district, can they enroll at any time?
During the alternate open enrollment.
Okay.
Yep, as long as we have
Okay.
open seats, which we do.
Yes.
So, yes, so we have a commercial that's currently running for another 2 weeks that we've seen. We've gotten about 3 students that have rented it, so, which the net cost of that one, because it was the amount we are getting for those 3 students outweighs the cost of that commercial, so.
Where is it running?
It's running out of NBC in Milwaukee, one of the stations down there, but they only run it on streaming cable services like
Okay.
Roku, Prime, so like the free channels on your Samsung
Sure.
TV, and then you're able to target specific zip codes.
Okay.
So we worked with them, we were able to choose up to 30 zip codes that we could run it through, so we looked at our current families, and kind of where the most popular areas are, and really targeted those. And the reason we chose that instead of going out to new areas is when we plan field trips, we like to plan them in areas that our families currently live.
Sure.
So by continuing to try and hit those areas, we knew that our field trips could still be, that's something that overwhelmingly is a positive for our
I'm
school.
trying to check that out.
Yeah, it's hard to, and you're happy if you want, you know,
Yeah,
that'd be great, but.
You also said, I think earlier, that the WVS had lower enrollments as well. Like it's just that since the DPI changed, the more in-person, I guess, virtual teaching model sounded like a lot of them took a hit, so.
Across the board, enrollment is down at virtual schools. So,
Would you mind sending us a copy of that?
yeah, definitely. I'll get it to Julie.
Okay, I think that'd be great. Any other questions?
Who changed the rules and regulations, the legislature or DPI?
So the interpretations of things and the follow through from DPI during COVID, it was, they had 100 and something virtual schools pop up in a matter of 2 years. And so now that some of those have closed and things kind of settled, DPI finally got around to saying, no, this is what is actually meant. The other hard part is some of the things that were written in the early 2000s. And so they're currently going through a legislative cycle for next year. So a lot of this, I believe, the way that it was explained to us is preemptive into the clarification that they're planning to do. And so there was some ambiguity to some of the state statute, and so with the team, the virtual charter school team at DPI, last October, they came out and said, this is exactly what these mean, and we are gonna be following up to make sure that all the virtual schools are doing it. They held their word, all of us got calls, and that's why we're all sitting right there now.
Thank you. Got another question. Cost per student of our Odyssey students, is it for next year, is that gonna be per student cost more than our other students?
No, the Odyssey students cost less. They typically are bringing in less revenue as well, but they cost less. And
Okay.
it's been a net positive for us since the school opened. This year, it's, it's gonna be close because we lost so many students and we still have a lot of our same teaching staff. But it'll be good for us again in the future. We're looking at different options, so.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you.
I know, but there were no questions.
Motion wasn't made.
You don't have anything. You just look at the first one. Okay.
So I move to approve the recommended staffing adjustments at Odyssey Academy for the 25-26 school year as presented.
Thanks, David.
Second.
Chris? All right, let's call for the vote. Passed unanimously. Next item, to consider approval of teacher overload pay for the 25-26 school year. Do we have a motion to put that on the board?
Motion to approve.
Tom, second?
I'll second.
Denise? Any comments or questions? All right. Call for the vote. That passed unanimously. Next, we're on to the consent agenda. Does anybody want to make any changes to the consent agenda? If not, can I have a motion to accept it as it's written?
So moved.
David, second?
Second.
Chris? And let's vote. That passed unanimously. Next, we're going on to business related reports. General fund budget report and the food service budget report.
Just wanted to say just a couple things about it. Nothing more than pretty much what's written, but just to say that we ended the year with adding to fund reserves for Fund 10. We had communicated that we would have a small addition to fund reserves, and we did have that. And then food service ran pretty close with the final numbers. It is a deficit, but it was planned based on providing free meals. The fund balance in the food service fund is about $370,000. So, we're planning to do it again, and at some point we'll have to decide, when we want to, or when we have to stop offering free breakfast. But for right now, that's the plan going forward. Just do something similar next year. So.
Do we have a prediction? So are we chopping off from the fund balance about the same amount every single year, so we can predict how many years it's gonna be before we run out, or is it much more fluctuating than that?
So I think, we ran about a $60,000 deficit this year. I think next year will be about $70,000. The cost of breakfast is going up 3%, but our revenue we're not getting any revenue from families locally, we're just using, federal reimbursement revenue. And so that's going up a little bit, but not at the same speed as our expenses to earmark. So, so it's not something we can do for forever, but we can definitely afford to do it next year. So, and then we see, I mean, a lot of it depends too on the utilization of the free breakfast. Last year, there was quite a jump in, especially at like the high school, taking the free breakfast, which is what we intended for students to use it. But the more students that use it, the more that fund balance goes down, faster because of that. So
Or we're likely to have at least 3 or 4 years.
probably.
Okay.
Jonah, can you remind me that, the Fund 46, I know we've had in for 5 years, or now probably 6 or 7 years ago it was
Yeah,
started?
yeah.
So are we contributing to that still with, and so once that's gone, there's no opportunity that you know of that we can have that again?
Well, no, I think we will contribute to it again, but a couple things. One is that like last year, we had over $100,000 of interest revenue. So the funds that were in there are generating their own interest, we're able to use that for projects. We are spending down that fund balance, so we'll earn less interest revenue this year. But still maybe $60,000 of interest revenue is kind of what I'm predicting for that. So it does kind of generate some funds within itself, which is great. But then I think also as we adjust staffing at like Odyssey, there'll be years where we're able to again contribute to Fund 46, and we could even do it within the budget, like in a planned way, where we start the year and we say, hey, we're going to have this much of Fund 46. The school board could do that as a plan, and we don't have that plan for this coming school year because we don't have any excess funds that we really want to consider that with right now. But I think that it will again, we'll add to it in the future, I'm sure.
Thanks. It's nice to have it.
Yes.
Anybody else have any questions for Joan? Thank you.
Thanks, Jonah.
Next thing we're going to do is convene to close session. Do we have a motion to do that?
So moved.
Second. Katie, did you second? Oh, Denise. I knew it was coming from over this way. Call for the vote. You're in session.